Hello everybody, Manix here. Got a knife review for you right here, right now. Feel free to subscribe, hit that bell notification button if you don't want to miss any future knife reviews, flashlight videos, gun videos, gear and EDC videos, all that good stuff. Let's get right into this review. Ladies and gentlemen, we have perfection. This is the Spyderco Manix G10. Manix 2, technically. I've never had a Manix 1 before, whatever that was, but this is the current Manix model as I'm filming this in August 2022. They've had this one around for a while, and honestly, I don't have any complaints. I love everything about this knife. It's the perfect EDC knife, the perfect tactical blade. There's a reason this knife has been talked about so much over the years. There's a reason so many people like it. Scored a great deal on this sucker, and I'm in love. I just love everything about it. Let's get into the specs. Weighs 4.9 ounces, blade length is 3.37 inches, handle length 4.66 inches, making the overall length 8.03 inches, S30V blade steel on there. Let me clean that up for you. I always do that. I turn the camera on and with the flashlight on, and I always realize there's crud and crap all over my knives that I haven't seen otherwise. CPM S30V, stone wash finish on there. Beautiful work on it. It's actually kind of reflective, and it's subtle too. There's so many different kinds of stonewash variants, but this one, it's so subtle. It's actually gorgeous. From afar, it looks like a satin finish, but you get close up to it, you realize there's more going on there. Thumb hole for deployment, cage ball bearing lock. I'll talk about that. One of my favorite locking mechanisms ever. Leaf shaped blade. I'm going to call that a spear point. It's a little different. Spyderco calls it their leaf shape. We'll just call it that, the leaf shaped blade. Full flat ground. Thank you very much. That's pretty much my favorite grind. Look at all the jimps everywhere. Steel liners, G10 handle scales. Just pay close. There's a spring of the cage ball bearing lock in there, but just pay close attention to all of the jimping. The blade, you can see it on the front of the handle, the back of this choil as well. We have more along this lock bar. Oh, sorry, this stop bar. It's not a lock bar. It's a stop bar for the knife to lock. I'll talk about that. That's gorgeous. Big old fat pillar right there for a lanyard hole. Tip up carry only. Not complaining there. I love tip up all the time. 100% of the time I'll go with tip up. Amazing pocket clip. Also stonewash finish, it looks like. If you're familiar with the other Spyderco pocket clips, or even the bird pocket clips, you're going to know what this one's all about. So where do I even begin? Why is this knife so popular? Why do so many people like it? Couple things. High quality. The fit and finish of it. The ergonomics are just gorgeous. Just hand-meltingly nice. So comfortable. And it's not too aggressive or anything that it's uncomfortable to hold. But there are nice jimps. Let's call them everywhere. It's not a word, I know. But the texturing is a nice touch. The jimping up here on the blade is fantastic. Just like all the Spydercos. It's sharp. We could scooch up here. Again, we got jimping in there as well. You can really lock in if you have to do precision work. Let's see how far down we can go. You can scooch all the way down here if you want. I personally wouldn't. I would just stay up here. So you have a nice butt of the handle poking out here as well as a guard up there. It's just very organic, sexy, curvy. Just like pretty much all Spydercos. They tend to not be angular and industrial looking. They're more organic looking, which is really cool. Super fast. Just that lock on there is great. That cage ball bearing lock. So we have good ergonomics, good speed, good fit and finish. We have a lot of jimping everywhere. Nice texturing on the G10. It's kind of just like medium, softer grade, I would say. Just like most G10 handle scales, so it is what it is. It is going to be temperature resistant. There's a bunch of crud on my thumb that seems to be getting on there. I actually like the hardware on here. It's kind of like oversized, like the flat, flush-mounted screws are just kind of cool. Beautiful. The liners are not skeletonized. I'm actually kind of surprised. I don't give a crap, honestly. I carry really heavy knives all the time. I honestly don't care. Even if you did skeletonize them, you'd shave off maybe 0.15 ounces or something. Maybe 0.2 if you were lucky. I really don't give a crap. But it's odd how they didn't do that, because Spyderco pretty much does that to all of their knives, and for whatever reason, this one, they were like, no, they didn't. But I honestly don't care. Some people might get bothered by that. It's not a lightweight knife. It's a little heavy. A little bit heavy for the size, you know. Just under 5 ounces, according to their website. But wait, hang on. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. We got to bring out the scale. You know it. This piece of crap I've been using for years. Hey, it's usually more correct than what the websites say. Oh, no, never mind. 4.91. They claimed 4.9. You sneaky devils, Spyderco. You didn't include the 0.01 ounces. Oh, you're trying to trick everyone. No, that's actually very accurate. If you look at the cold steel knives and some other knife companies, their weights are just way off sometimes. Guys, get it together. No, Spyderco, you know what you're doing with your specs. Good job. So I love the shape of it. It's beautiful looking, I think, even though if you're not used to the Spydercos, it's a little bit funky. You know, just the shape and the hole there. But I love them. I love these holes. There's a reason these are popular. 90-degree angle, it's cut in there. It's a perfectly shaped circle. Your thumb really locks in there all the time. It just feels high quality. If you've had a Spyderco Tenacious, those are nice knives and all. They're budget friendly. But this knife, you step up to it and it's just, it feels so much smoother. The lockup is so nice. It's a nice snap to it. No up and down at all. A little bit of side to side, but you can adjust that out. On my pivot screw, it felt like it was kind of stuck actually. But I managed to really torque it a little bit. I'll have to go back and fiddle with that. I don't know what's going on. I know most of these are not supposed to be like that. Mine just feels like it's stuck. I don't know what happened there. Who knows? But the lockup is good enough. Love this cage ball bearing lock. It's another hit on this knife. It's another thing I love about it. It has pretty low tension, just the way it's shaped. You can see that's what retains it in there, but it doesn't feel like there's too much resistance on the knife, like say a lockback normally would. No, it's not that big of a deal. It's not like, you know, lockback suck or anything. I'm not saying that. It's just you can flick it out with no wrist movement whatsoever, and you have a really solid lockup. Those are the two things I look for in a locking mechanism. I think that's what everybody looks for in a locking mechanism. You want the knife to be fast as well as lock up well. And as you can see, if you've noticed me doing this the whole damn video, you can open and close it without even touching the blade because it is side actuating. The cage ball bearing, I made a video on how this works, but it's a steel ball bearing in there, and then we have FRN, the cage, so to speak, on there, which is jimped, and you can see it is lopsided, kind of pointing that way. So it actually grips into your index finger and thumb very well, or whatever fingers you happen to be using. I'm sure it would work just fine. It is symmetrical. It's ambidextrous. That's another hit on the knife. Hit sounds like a bad thing. You can swap the pocket clip to the left side, as you can see there, because it is tapped in the liners. And the cage ball bearing lock obviously is ambidextrous. The hole obviously is ambidextrous. It's 110% ambidextrous. And that locking mechanism is strong. I don't know if it's as strong as an Axis lock from Benchmade or an arc lock from SOG. I don't know. It's just their variant on the side actuating locks. But holy hell, I love how simple it is. It's literally just a spring and a rod with a steel ball bearing, which keeps it in place. Very simple. Again, I have a video on how this works, but there's a cutout in the tang, and just when that space is freed, boop, it shoves itself in there from the tension of the spring, and it's pinched in between both the ball bearing. The blade is pinched in between the ball bearing as well as the stop bar. We don't have a stop pin. We got a stop bar, baby. Yeah, it's like a good 2.5 inches on this thing. Damn, it's just, you can't get much more strong than that when you're trying to stop positive force from making your blade over travel. So that is excellent. Excellent. I don't know why more knives don't do this. Instead of a stop pin, just throwing a backspacer in there, dude. Or just make it an entire backspacer. Do that. Come on, knife companies. Maybe it's completely redundant, I know, but it's just cool. It makes it seem stronger. How is that going to disengage on you? Well, negative force might eventually disengage the ball bearing, but positive force, hell no. That is not going anywhere. S30V blade steel, pretty familiar with it at this point. It's a great steel. Miracle blade steel. It's not the best in the world, but damn, it's up there. It's a really, really, really good blade steel. It's very high tier. You can get these for about $140. It is USA made, keep that in mind, so the price is going to be up there. That's pretty much the only disadvantage, its price. It's worth every penny, but then again, if you're just talking about complete utility, there's knives out there that are in like the $50, $60 range. That will suit you just fine if you're just carrying it for EDC. But if you want a blade steel that's not going to rust on you and it's just going to retain an edge forever and ever and ever, and with this quality fit and finish, you're going to have to pay a little bit more, and that's what we have here. And again, US produced. So you throw that all into a bag, and it's just going to cost what it costs. That's just what it is. I wish it was cheaper. I happen to score a great deal on this knife. I found at a gun shop near me. Actually, I was really surprised. I think it was like $105. It's something crazy. That's the best deal I've seen on this knife. And I've checked Amazon. I've checked every website in the world looking for this thing. And that was the best deal I found. I don't think you're going to find that deal, unfortunately. But I did, so sorry. Didn't mean to disrespect you there. It was really good. Good 25, 30 bucks less than what it's normally worth. 140 bucks, it's still worth it, but that is pricey. For me, once you get a knife that's above 90 bucks or so, that's what I consider to be expensive. But everyone's got a different definition of that. Some people think a $25 knife is expensive. Some people think a $200 knife's cheap. I don't know. It just depends on your situation, how much you love knives, and your financial situation. But anyway, I don't know what else there is to really say about it. It carries great. Love the pocket clip. Perfection. Right, there's some people might want it to be a loop over. It is what it is. You have a little bit more to grab onto this way, like the little Spyderco logo there. Love the oversized cutout right there for the lanyard. I love the jimping all over the liners. I love the jimping on the blade. It's fast, it's strong, it's just thick enough. It's not so thick that it's like a big old beefy piece of junk in your pocket or anything, but it's just thick enough so you get a good hand-filling grip on it. I like the texturing everywhere. Again, I love that stop bar. I love the locking mechanism, the speed, the ergonomics, the strength, the blade steel, the shape. It's just perfect. Mwah! It's just chef's kiss. This thing is perfection. I love this knife. It's one of my favorite knives to carry. It's going to be great for defense because you have all that traction there, and it's not too big or too scary. Yeah, I prefer something with like a 6-inch blade from Cold Steel or something like that for defense. But in court, a lot of the sheeple are probably going to get upset with you and think you're a psychopath for carrying something like that. Maybe this would do a little bit better, even if you're lawfully defending yourself. I'm not going to get into the politics of that, but basically that's another advantage this has. It's somewhat friendly looking. Some people may argue with that, but it's going to be great for piercing. Decent amount of belly there. Not as much as a clip blade or anything, but it's a good, versatile blade. It might be a little fragile. We have somewhat of a delicate tip there, but it's going to be hella great for piercing. Very good. And for surgical precision work, stuff like that. I love the FFG. I love the stonewash finish. This knife is it's perfection. I absolutely love the Manix. I see why it's so popular. And hey, Manix is the name of my YouTube channel. It just dawned on me. It's spelled a little differently, but this is the Manix, and you know what? I love it. Again, really the only big disadvantage, I guess, is the weight. It could have been lighter. Not that it really matters. We're talking decimals of ounces. And maybe the tip on there might be a little bit delicate for some people. And then, of course, the price. That's going to be the big one. Everything else is pretty much just preference, though. But damn, it is a great knife. There's a reason there's so much press on this thing. I can't think of any obvious flaws it has. So there you go. That is a Spyderco Manix. It's going to pretty much be the everything knife. If you got some money on you, you don't have a whole knife collection, you want to buy one knife that can just do everything. It's good for defense. It's good for hard use. Good for light use. And it's not too small, not too big. It's a perfect portage. It's got potential. What do you want? Spyderco Manix. Pick this knife.